Hello. Good evening. Oh, nice having you here. I can see window last mark. Could you please introduce yourself if you don't mind? Okay, it's nice having you on here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, good evening, sir. How are you doing today? You're welcome. People will just wait a few minutes for others to join in and then we'll start. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes and then we'll start. Oh, great, great, great. Nice to know. Thank you very much for joining in, sir. So we'll just wait maybe like for 2 minutes and then we'll take up from there because it's 7:05 already, 7:06 now. Okay, so it's 7:07 already. I think we should start. Yeah, I think we should start now. Okay, so okay, we have someone else joining in. Good evening. You're welcome. You're welcome. Good evening. Okay, so today we'll be looking at handling differences of opinion while remaining submissive. Yeah, so Ife Aribisala is my name from the Preparing for Bliss um, program. Uh, Today, like I mentioned earlier, we'll be looking at handling differences of opinion while remaining submissive. What does differences of opinion? What does it mean? Uh, well, we can imagine a band, composed of different musicians, uh, and each of them playing different unique instruments like piano, like keyboard, like drums, like trumpet, like saxophone. You know, we know generally that the aim is to create a beautiful music. But there are times that the drummer might want a faster tempo. The pianist, might prefer to just go uh, slower. If there is no central coordinating system, it will end up in chaos. These things can even happen, unintentionally at times. Uh, and if there's no coordinating system, someone coordinating the whole band, it will lead to chaos, and the song will lose its harmony. The music itself will lose its harmony, and it will no longer uh, be beautiful to the hearing. It will become noise. Same way, people have different preferences, people have different perspectives, and this can lead to disagreements if not handled properly. When there's no system in place to handle these differences, of opinions, of perspective, that is as a result of one thing or the other, which we'll also talk about later, uh, it can lead to a lot of issues in relationship, conflicts, and all. So differences of opinion occur when partners, people in a relationship, when they have divergent views. It also refers to the variation in viewpoints, beliefs, preferences, attitudes, that partners in a relationship may have on various topics. And the culprits, what is fundamentally responsible for these differences are some of the following. The first thing that usually is responsible for these differences in opinion is individual backgrounds and upbringing. For instance, we've had couples having disagreements on where to press toothpaste. One believes it has to be pressed at the tail, it has to be pumped at the tail. The other one was not taught that prim and proper way, and so just uses the toothpaste anywhere, presses it anywhere. The important thing is for this thing to come out, the paste to come out for usage. So he doesn't care which way is the perfect way or the right way to press it. And we have seen these issues like this escalate to conflict, to even more serious issues in relationships. You know, on individual background and upbringing also, um, there is this particular couple. One was brought up, you know, not to share personal effects, probably an only child, probably an only sex child in the family. And so, he or she didn't have to share personal effects. Everybody had their towels and all that, and it's not something you share with others. And then this person gets married to another person brought up in a closely knitted family where everybody shares things like that. When they come together, this can lead to conflicts where the other person that is used to their personal space, is used to their private personal effects, will feel, that their space is being violated. I had this too initially when I got married. I was used to, using my towel and stuffs like that, personal effects without sharing. I see people share. It was just something I didn't like because I was not used to it. And so I got married. My husband is from a background where they share things that even wear each other's clothes. And it was not something that I was familiar with. And, it was irritable for me at that initial uh, time, point in time in our marriage. So, individual backgrounds and upbringing can bring about differences of opinion. Significant life experiences also, for instance, traumatic experience, people can react unconsciously without knowing it due to their traumatic experiences, you know, traumatic, significant life experiences. There was this case I read sometimes where uh, there was a case of infidelity, and without calling for reconciliation or anything, the lady just packed her stuff and moved out with immediate effect, and that was the end of the relationship for her. And it was later realized that the same incidents had happened between her parents, and she had vowed that, um, um, if such should happen in our relationship, she was just going to leave that relationship, you know. So there was difference of opinion in that regard also, because the husband may have felt that such is okay, maybe due to upbringing or whatever, and they never had communications around it. They never discussed their expectations and all that. So that's another thing. Our values, beliefs also can bring about differences in opinion. There was this incident, our values and beliefs generally. So I grew up with the belief that, there are various beliefs anyway, but this was just around food, and that was how I was brought up. This can also, be related to individual backgrounds also. That even if you don't like eating a particular food and you go to a neighbor's place and they give you that food, you have to eat it, whether you like it or not. That was just, the perspective and belief that I had around that particular situation growing up. So my husband, we were not married then yet, and I went visiting, to see a friend of mine that came around. And this particular meal is one thing that they love to eat in their part of the, you know, from where they come from, where their hometown and all that. It's one of their favorite meals. So she prepared this meal for us. And well, uh, my husband had mentioned previously that he does not like that particular meal. But for me, even if you don't like it, you still have to eat it. So, and then my friend made this meal and served us. And we ate, I ate, he ate it, and we left. And after that, he was so angry that I told you I don't like this food and I don't eat it. But in my own head, based on my own belief that even if you don't like it, you still have to, you can't tell them. From where he is coming from, the belief is if you don't like it, you should not eat it, kind of. He was always exempted and all that from that particular meal. But for me, it was a different thing. It was just like if you don't like it, you still have to eat it if you are outside, not to inconvenience other people. So all these things can bring about difference of opinions in relationships. So the fourth thing is personalities. We all have various personality types, and we have some that comes prominent for each one of us. We have a combination of almost all, but some uh, comes much more prominent and shows off much more than others. So for someone now who is a powerful commander, and this is what we know as choleric. So the four types are the powerful commander, which is generally known as choleric, the playful comedian, which is known generally as sanguine, and the peaceful collaborator, which is known generally as the phlegmatic temperament. And then we have the perfect critic, which is generally known as the melancholy temperament. So the powerful commander is a goal-getter naturally, sees this goal and goes all out for it. And usually they have leadership tendencies and all that. They all have various amazing attributes, but weaknesses and strengths. And in it all, no temperament is more superior than the other. They all have different arrays of strengths and weaknesses intertwined, and which also contributes to their uniqueness individually. So the powerful commander is a goal getter, like I said earlier. And then the uh, perfect critic, you know, okay, the playful comedian is usually the life of the party, but the powerful commander and the playful comedian, they are extroverted. And then the peaceful collaborator, they are usually non-confrontational. They love their peace, and sometimes they appear laid back. And the perfect critic, who are perfectionists, they want everything a particular way. They have these tendencies, you know. If a powerful commander who is a goal-getter now gets married or is in a relationship with a peaceful collaborator who is non-confrontational, they love their peace, and they can sometimes appear laid back, it can get to a point where it will become infuriating for the goal-getter. Like, no, I just tired. I don't want to keep pushing and pushing. It can get annoying. And um, these are tendencies that are actually that can be directed in ways that will be beneficial for both parties, but it can get to this point that our differences are actually things that now gets us infuriated at each other. And the peaceful collaborator may get to a point and start feeling like, oh, this powerful commander is just so pushy. This person just likes to walk over me, kind of, and all that. The If the playful comedian who is a sanguine, who is usually the life of the party, outgoing and all that, gets married to the perfect critic who is a perfectionist, is then you hear things like, oh, he or she is too serious, uh, he or she is too uptight. This person just doesn't like to enjoy life. This person is just so boring, kind of, and all that. And then this would be may likely be coming from the playful comedian. And then you may hear the perfect critic saying, oh, this person is just too playful, no ambition, not focused. You start hearing stuff like that. And so these things comes out as a result of our differences, which in itself is not bad, outrightly, but with understanding and cooperation and working together, we can actually bring the best out of these uh, 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 differences that couples seem to have. So, understanding these factors that have been shared, which are the people's personalities, individual backgrounds, and upbringing, significant life experiences, values, and beliefs, which contribute majorly to difference of opinion. It can help couples navigate their differences much more effectively as against setting them against each other. So here are some common areas where differences of opinion usually shows up. That is, differences of opinion as a result of personality, of bringing significant life experiences, values, and beliefs. So usually it shows up in communication styles. Partnership may have different ways of expressing themselves. They may have different expectations, about communications also in relationship as a result of their temperament, as a result of their upbringing, as a result of their values and beliefs, as a result of their significant life experiences. Also, it shows forth in financial management, disagreements about spending, saving, budgeting, uh, disagreements on financial priorities, you know, stuffs like gambling and all that. These are things that comes up as a result of upbringing and all these other factors I've mentioned um, previously. It also shows forth in couples parenting styles, you know, definitely people coming from different backgrounds, they will have different ideas about how to raise children based on how they were raised themselves, different ideas about discipline, methods of discipline, different ideas about education choices and daily routines, different ideas totally, um also it's underpins household responsibilities also, how couples view household responsibilities, whether it's the duty of just one party or it's the duty of both, usually emanates also from upbringing and environment and a lot of other things. Also, um, social activities, to engage in social activities or not to engage, all this also is in our upbringing, even regardless of the temperament. At times you may have a temperament that that is introverted and doesn't really like going out, but grew up in an environment where such person gets into a lot of social activities. It can also influence them. So all this come together, as an interplay uh, uh, to determine the differences that couples have, partners have, in of differences of opinion in their relationship. Career goals also, when people have conflicting career aspirations, job related decisions, all this can create tension. Maybe one person believes, based on their upbringing or maybe based on their life experiences, they've seen marriages that did not work because both couples were working together, and so they have this idea that their partner, maybe the wife usually, should be a stay-at-home mom kind of, and this person also is ambitious. This will definitely lead to um different these are different opinions, and so this usually can generate tension and conflict. Level of education also, when couples don't grow together, it can cause uh, issues in their relationship, because they will have varied level of knowledge and understanding regarding issues. And so when they have conversations, it's going to lead to clashes and issues. Our values and beliefs, like I mentioned earlier, whether someone believes that, oh, a man is superior to a woman, or and the other partner does not agree with such, all these are differing opinions that can lead to issues. It's totally different when they both have the same belief. Like maybe one person believes, oh, a man is superior to the woman, and the wife also believes same. It's different. But when there's a difference, there is imbalance already, and it usually leads to contention. Things like sexual expectations, conflict resolution styles. Partners may have different approaches to handling conflict, with some preferring to talk things out immediately, while the other partner may not. All this can lead to issues in relationships. So it is very important that despite all this, uh, things that can cause differing opinions in relationship, it's important to know that differences of opinion are normal and natural to life. So it's not out of place at all. And so it is very important to understand and accept that fact that there sure will be differences. Because on the surface of the earth, not all people are exactly the same. And so that is the beauty and the uniqueness that we all bring, that we all come with. So it is normal to life, and there's nothing wrong with having differing opinions. uh and also it's important to note also at times that these differences in opinion may have been what actually attracted this couple to each other in the first place. You may have been attracted to someone that you feel, oh, this person is bold, I like this bold part of this person. I like him, I like her because he or she is bold. And then later on, as the marriage progresses, you know you start viewing that boldness in another light, maybe based on some incidences, that's happened. And then that the person that used to be bold to you now becomes arrogant to you, you know. Uh, or, okay, maybe you've been attracted to someone because this person is a go-getter, and then all of a sudden, later on, in the marriage, feel this person is pushy, that kind of a thing. So there are times it's important to know also that these differences sometimes, are the things that attracted these couples to each other in the first place. While differences of opinion are normal in any new relationship, how couples manage and resolve this is crucial. It's what determines it can uh, make or mar their relationship. These differences can bring couples together, leading to growth if well managed. If they have a good system of handling differences. Such differences in opinion is a good thing in itself. It's important to know that and take note of that. Also, if not well managed, differences of opinion can cause, it can turn to conflict. It can escalate to other issues that are much more serious, that can destabilize the peace of the home and individual peace as well, and hamper progress. Differences of opinion are usually passed across via communication or lack of it. And so we'll explore communication also down our discourse today. So we'll be looking at the submission factor. Remember, our topic is handling uh, differences of opinions, and then looking at the submission factor, the concept of submission. So, what then is submission? A lot of people, well, growing up, that was what was common around. People think submission is for someone to be subservient to another person, doggedly aligning to whatever the other person wants. But I dare say that submission is not about losing oneself or agreeing with everything. But rather, submission is about maintaining harmony and showing respect. Yeah, at the center of submission is mutual respect. So, respect is vital to submission. Submission is, being under a mission, being under an assignment or a goal. And what comes readily to mind is missionaries, because I'm of the Christian faith. And so we have missionaries who will sometimes leave their countries or nation, sometimes from a first world nation to a third world nation, in pursuance of a goal, of a common cause, you know. Most times they give up their personal interest for this cause. And to achieve this, they go to any extent at all. They have put themselves under this assignment to follow through with it. So that is what submission means. Submission is putting something or someone under an assignment. Letting go of your individual desires towards a defined assignment. But it's not about losing yourself. It's just differing to each other and to some other dimensions of submission that we'll also look at briefly, based on how empowered or knowledgeable this other person is on this assignment or goal. So there are actually five levels of submission. And the first one is submission to the supreme being. Whoever differs reverently to the supreme being will find it easy to submit, to their partners. They will find it easy also to translate this honor they've given to the supreme being to their partner also. And so it makes submission to each other a lot easier. Secondly, we have submission to personal mission. So when you flourish, your relationship flourishes also. You know, not having a personal mission is likened to what people will call NFA, just going in all directions. You yourself, you are not focused, and it will affect personal flourishing. But when you have a sense of personal mission, you have a goal you are pursuing, it enhances your personal flourishing. It enhances your life satisfaction in no small way. And so you're able to contribute to the shared goal, to the shared mission from a place of being full, not from a place of being empty. You're able to contribute from an authentic point of view and contribute genuinely and contribute wholly. The third level of submission is submission to each other. It's about letting go of your desires towards a mutual assignment, a mutual mission that is mutually agreed on, not one that is, that one person is lording over the other. I'm the head of this family, so you must do this, you must do that. No, but what that is mutually agreed upon, not in a subservient way, but one that is built on mutual respect and consideration for each other, not aiming at subduing or suppressing the other person. Then the fourth level of submission is submission to a shared vision, a shared mission. Okay, so that's what okay, yeah, that's the fourth level, is submission to a shared mission. Yeah, I said earlier that it's very important to have a personal mission. It gives you a sense of direction. It gives you a sense of fulfillment and flourishing. And it also adds to life satisfaction. So this is having a personal mission is fundamental to shared mission, because it is from what you have that you will share. It is from what you have that you both come together and pick, things that are of intersection, or come to an agreed shared mission from, not something you pick from outside. What you pick from outside will not resonate with you. So what you hold there as your personal mission previously, that you guys will be able to work together, combining both, or picking, a new set from both personal missions, to be able to come up with something that aligns and resonates with both parties, and would motivate both parties. So it's more like what each person is bringing. So it's important that until you develop your own personal mission, you cannot even cultivate a shared mission with another person. So it's about what you want to do together as a couple. It's about the shared assignment that you are mutually committed to as a couple. And the last level, the fifth level, is submission to the one with the leadership mandate. We have the man as the one with the leadership mandate of the home. There are two levels to this. The man has a leadership mandate. And so a partner is expected to be submissive to this leadership mandate. But on another hand, also, we have situations where in different aspects of the family life, maybe in the finance, It's the woman that is much more knowledgeable, that is much more empowered, that can handle the finance better, you know, in such a situation. The wife, or whoever it is, it can be the husband also, has the leadership mandate in that aspect. So it's also to look into the different areas of the family, the educational system, the economic system, and all aspects of the family, to see who is more empowered, who is more has the better skill to be able to handle these aspects of the family better. And so that person automatically holds the leadership mandates. And so the other partner would differ to this other person to take the lead in that aspect, so that we can achieve our aim, so that we can achieve success as a team in this area. I will not keep lauding, oh, I'm the head of this family, and so because of that, even areas that serves as my weakness, and then I will now lord it over everyone, that no, I must be in charge. Maybe I don't even know how to handle my personal finance, not to talk of family finance. The person may be into gambling and all that. It's risk. Such a team, such a family will not be able to achieve success. They will not be able to go far. So it's about differing to the person that has a better understanding in that particular aspect of the family to take the lead. So that is what submission to the one with the leadership mandate stands for. So when we submit to one another, when we engage these 5 levels of submission, what then do couples stand to gain? Uh, what do they benefit when they handle differences of opinion appropriately from the standpoint of submission? Some of the benefits is enhanced mutual respect. Yeah. It also strengthens relationship bonds, because couples, they have a mutual goal, they have a shared mission, and so they keep working together to achieve this. It builds their relationship and strengthens their bond further. It promotes a peaceful environment also, you know, handling differences of opinion from the standpoint of submission. When we are totally submitted to one another, it promotes peaceful environment, because we are actually out for the good of the other person. And so when there is differing opinions, we are quick to come together, because we know it's going to affect our shared mission negatively, and we do not want a breakdown. We want progress, we want success where our shared mission is concerned. So it will make couples to come together quickly and find a way around resolving these differing opinions. And so it promotes peaceful environments, which energizes individuals in the relationship also. Also, it increases marriage sustainability. When couples are submissive to one another, when they engage these 5 levels of submission, and they are able to handle differing opinions appropriately from this standpoint, couples are able to sustain their relationships for long. So, having seen the benefits of submission, how then can we handle differences and remain submissive for relationship sustainability? The first one is willingness. There's this saying that, can two people work together unless they be agreed? Is it possible? It's not possible. One person is going to the north, the other person is going to the south. They are going in different directions. They can't work together. They cannot even achieve anything together unless they come to a midpoint and say, okay, what exactly is our mission? What exactly is our goals? How can we align this? And maybe in aligning it, they now decide, okay, we are going to go to the north first, then afterwards, we'll go to the south. That way, they are working together. That way, there's no wastage of resources. That way, they achieve much more together. So, can two work together unless they be agreed? No, it's not possible. So, willingness of partners, of spouses, of couples to be submissive to each other is very, very important. It's vital. There's also a saying that if you are willing and obedient, you will eat the good of the land. And this land here is marriage. So if couples are willing, it goes a long way to account for success in relationships. So enjoying long-lasting marriages can only be possible if couples are willing to give it all it takes. If couples are willing to be submissive, to differ to one another, willing, to show mutual respect, willing to work on differing opinions and not just leave it to escalate, you know. So the second theme, and also a very important factor on handling differences in opinion while remaining submissive for relationship sustainability is effective communication. So the question is, what is your communication style? Especially for negative interactions. Negative interactions is how you communicate what you do not like or differences to your partner. Is he in a submissive way or a domineering way? Much more than positive interactions, negative interactions have more impact on relationship, and they can to a large extent determine how sustainable a marriage relationship will be. They can to a large extent, determine the direction a relationship is going, whether it's going south or is going good. So the question is, what are your tendencies as a person in communication, especially for negative interactions? Do you, as a speaker, the person that is trying to express himself or herself, criticize in your manner of communication? Or do you speak with content? And do you, as a listener also, because we do both in any relationship, there are times you are listening, there are times that you are the one speaking. So do you, as a listener, are you defensive? Or do you stonewall? It's important to understand your tendencies to take responsibility. These tendencies usually are anti-submission because it goes against the boundary of mutual respect. When we start criticizing, when we speak with contempt, when we are defensive, when we are stonewalling, it breaks down the boundary of mutual respect. So it's important to understand your tendencies and take responsibility. Do you also like the way your partner communicates with you? And does your partner like the way you communicate with them also? Would you like to be spoken to the way you speak to your partner? Remember, it's both ways. It's two ways. Speaking and listening. So, in negative interactions, if your tendencies as a speaker are criticism, then it's important to note henceforth that is to handle um, differing opinions better. It's important to stay on the matter and not attack the person, not criticize or condemn the person when you're trying to speak and communicate. For someone also, if you've been able to identify your communication tendencies, especially in negative interactions, as a speaker also, it's also important to know if your manner is via content, maybe insulting your partner and all that. It's important to build a culture of appreciation and respect, to be able to move away from this manner of uh, communication that breaks down um the wall of mutual respect. As a listener, also, or the one on the receiving side, if your tendencies are defensiveness, which is seeing yourself as a victim, it's important to detach from the issue and view objectively and take responsibility for your tendency. And if yours, as a listener also is stonewalling, you know, it's important as for not just to stonewall your partner, not just to walk off, but to let them know that as this conversation is at the moment, I'm not in the right frame of mind, to have conversations, uh, in a healthy way. So could you please give me some time and then I will get back to you? I'm not just leaving it at that, but after you've calmed down, you feel you're in a good place to handle that conversation, go back on your own to your partner without the person having to pressure you and then keep, asking you over and over and over, and then you keep avoiding. Also, we mentioned the personality earlier. Uh, some of these personalities, for instance, um, they have their manner of approach, also tendencies when it comes to negative communication styles. Like the powerful commander, that's a choleric. They have this tendency to speak in contempt. They tend to speak in hurtful manner. So knowing this can also help you to further deduce and understand your tendencies. The playful comedian, who is a sanguine, who is generally known as sanguine, they can sometimes appear manipulative because at times they have these sweet mouths and it just looks too good to be true. The peaceful collaborator sometimes have the stonewalling tendency, wanting to avoid conflict because they just want their peace. They don't want problems, they don't want issues for themselves. The perfect critic, on their own, popularly known as melancholy, they have this tendency to be harsh with their words, and communicate through criticism because they see from that lens, everything is not good enough, is not perfect enough. It has to be this particular way for it to be perfect. It has to be that way and all that. So they have this tendency also. Ah, in all of this, it is very important to understand that all humans, at the core of us all, both the speaker and the listener, the person expressing themselves and the person at the receiving end, because that's what effective communication is about. It's both ways, it's two ways. They have this desire to be loved, they have this desire for connection, and they have this desire also for a sense of self belonging, a sense of acceptance. This is innate in all humans. And so violating this would lead to conflict. Secondly, it's also very important to know that your right to express yourself is also your partner's right to be spoken to kindly. So it's important to take note of this too, to be able to help us in handling differences, because communication is like the lifeblood of any relationship. And so it's vital also in handling differences, because whatever it is that we agree on, uh, whichever posture of submission that we have will be conveyed through the vehicle of communication. So communication has to be effective. It has to achieve the purpose for which we want it to achieve. So communication, as I said earlier, is about speaking and listening. And effective communication is about speaking without blaming or criticizing, such that your partner also hears and understands clearly. And secondly, it's about your partner listening empathetically without hearing blame or criticism, putting themselves in the other person's shoe, listening to understand, not to blame, not to criticize, not to be defensive, not to walk away. Speaking should be about the way a particular situation impacts you. And listening also should be the point of empathy and understanding here. So this way, we ensure in relationship that rubber meets road. You know, when the tire of a car is in space and is not touching the road, if it's just in space and not in contact with the road, then catastrophe is about to strike. So it's important to ensure that both ways we are doing communication aright. For communication to be effective in handling differences, you know, and in negative interaction, the speaker should express themselves in a particular way. And this is by 4 factors, which are observations, feelings, needs, requests. This way, the speaker is able to focus on who he or she is, what he or she feels, and what he or she needs, as against the you did this, you did that. So, looking at observations, it's important to state your observation around the issue without generalization, without inferring meaning, making it bigger than it really is. Stating your observations and removing every form of accusation. Accusations like, oh, you always do this, you always do that. One, you do not know the reason why this particular person did what they did. Secondly, things are not always the way it appears. You may have perceived a thing, and that may not be the person's intention, or better still, it may not even be the absolute picture. It may just be maybe a 10% representation, and there are other stuffs behind the scene that you're not even aware of that gives a different perspective to this particular situation. So you will express your experience in a way that it feels like it has nothing to do with the other person. For example, when I hear you say so, 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 and so, it makes me feel, it's about my own experience about what you said, not about you did this, you did that, this, that, blame, criticism, and all that. And so it's always important to be able to convey our observations appropriately. It's important to use the I statements as against the you statements, which a lot of times is accusatory. Then going to the level of feelings, It's important to communicate your feelings about your observation. You stated your observation previously, you know, then you convey your feeling, not what you think. Remember, I said earlier that what you think might not be the absolute assessment of that situation. For instance, when I hear you say we won't be doing this again, we won't be doing so and so again, maybe a project you're supposed to do together, maybe cooking together as a couple, I felt discouraged. So, how does that feel? As against saying, this is how you always back down, you know, after my hopes have been raised and you just get me discouraged, you know, how does that feel? Even you feel good communicating the right way. Yeah, not to talk of your partner. The third thing to know when communicating effectively um, in negative interactions is to convey your needs, share your needs, your preferences, your expectations without demanding it. Remember mutual respect. It's vital. And so this ensures that you don't just demand disrespectfully, but you express your needs instead. When I An example is when I had you say we won't be doing so and so again together, I felt discouraged because I need your support on this to be able to move on. So you see, I all through. There's nothing like you did this, you did that. It was not accusation. It felt good to you saying it. And so it's going to feel good to the recipient. And so that way you're able to achieve harmony together. So it's important to speak to what that experience will be violating for you, you know, as against accusing your partner. Then the last level for the speaker is request. Do not command, but make request. Be specific about the action you would want the other person to take. So it's more like the would you be willing to statement, or I would appreciate if you would help with so and so statements, and not you have to stop doing that. You have to do this. No, 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 no. For example, would you be willing to join me on this task to motivate me or because it will motivate me? You know? So, speaking to your partner should be about conveying your feelings, conveying your needs, you know, stating your observation in a way that is devoid of criticism, accusation, insults, and then making a request as against making demands on your partner. And so on the partner of the one receiving, at the receiving end, your partner also that has been listening should be able to paraphrase what the listener has said to ensure that they heard what the speaker said correctly with the same manner of kindness as stated earlier. And then together, the third level, together, both of you should draft out action steps. Take note of action steps you are committing to doing henceforth to bridge the gap where this difference of opinion is concerned. And so this brings about the results that indicates that our communication was not futile, but effective. And so we have a part drafted to handle these differing opinions such that, you know, next time it's a walkover because we've been able to draft out a part to handle this particular issue. And so if such comes up later on in future, we can also always navigate through the same path to get over it. And this is what brings about growth in relationship. So this way, couples are able to handle their differences while remaining submissive to each other because they are committed to each other's growth. You know, they are committed to each other's well-being. They are committed to their shared mission also. And so they keep growing stronger and stronger together. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been a wonderful evening. Yeah. Do we have any questions, please? Any questions? All right. So on this note, we'll end it. It's been a wonderful evening. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful evening and an amazing weekend. Bye.